Okay. Let me put that onto that, and I want to open that. I guess I'll go with this one. Okay. Alrighty, so we are back working on this guy. We're almost done this guy. I don't know if we won't be fully finished today, because we still have to do our little hangy guys, but we're getting there. We're definitely getting there. So for those that would like to, we follow the Bob Ross tutorials, right? Or at least we are currently. And so this is episode 7 from season 3 that we've been following. So for those that want to watch the tutorial in full, you can go to the Bob Ross YouTube channel, and that's where I am pulling this from. So we've got that going. And so we just have left to put in our shrubbery and highlight it, and then we have to clean up our sides and then paint our dowel rods that are going to frame out the top and the bottom, and then get our hangy thingies on. I don't know if we're gonna fully finish that today. I'm not anticipating that happening today. If anything, next week might be the stream where we do it next Sunday, or this coming Sunday. Next Art Sunday, put it that way. So I'm gonna grab some of our, the heck is that? Something that got mixed into my fluff. So we're just gonna pull out some of our hunter green fluff, our dark green fluff. And we're gonna start making some of our shrubbery shape things here and start to work on getting that put in here. So I hope everybody's weekend wrapped up fairly well. You know, play with your shape to get it in there how you want it to be. And you might have to add another layer or so to it to fill in it if there's too much air in there to your liking. So let's see what we can do here. This looks black. It's hunter green. It's the same shade of dark green that we used back in here. So when we do get this guy finished, we're going to be doing another planning session. So we have to plan out the next couple of pieces. And I've been doing those on stream lately just because, you know, time. And if I'm going to take the time to do it, might as well do it on stream, then you can see sort of the thought process behind it. And then I don't feel guilty about taking the time to do it because we're using it as a stream session as well. So, you know, it has dual functioning purposes. Now I did order the new felting mat. That will be here for the next time that we're, well, it should be here in the middle of the week. I don't know if we'll be seeing it next weekend. I mean, I can show it kind of depends on when we do our planning stream. We still have to figure out what color we're gonna paint our dowel rods. Like, what color do we want them to be? Do we want them to be like this turquoisey color? Do we want them to be a brownie color? I don't think I want to go dark purple. That might be a little much. There's already a lot of brown happening in here. I have like a cream color, but I don't know. I think it's either going to be a purple, like either this shade of purple, maybe this shade of purple, or maybe the turquoise. I know it might be a little bit bold of a decision, but you know, to go off of the wood tones, but it'd probably be nice to have something that's a little different in there. So the new mat I'm getting is not a duplicate of the one that we're currently using. I'm trying a different one from Wool Buddy that I picked up on Amazon. It was a few dollars more than this one ended up being, but I actually liked that the new mat that we're getting had a little video from the dude that designed it on how to clean it and maintain it, and that was helpful. And it made me feel better about me constantly picking this stuff up off the mat. Because he's like, no, you want to make sure that you're moving your stuff around. Or that you're at least releasing it so it doesn't attach itself. So I'm like, oh good, okay. So that was something we learned from our first project on this guy. And now I don't feel stupid for doing it anymore. Because they're literally saying, no, you want to do that. And I'm like, oh, okay. Cool. Fantastic. So now we'll just work on getting our shapes in. I was looking at yarn colors last night, and I might branch out from to a different brand to grab the desert colors that I was looking for eventually. Because Paintbox just didn't have the right shade. I mean, they had some of the greens when I can get them in stock, but there was a couple other brands that I was seeing. And surprisingly enough, Big Twist actually had some of the green shades. I don't think they had a whole lot of browns, but we'll see. Alright, so just want to make sure that that's good and attached. Okay. There's one shrubbery. Just trying to get those little stragglers kind of pushed closer. Although if it's bothering us that much, we could just pop another guy like right next to him. That might be what we do. Pop this guy right into here. Alright, so I hope everybody's Monday's going alright. Ours so far has been a bit of a mixed bag. Husband had to have a tooth pulled this morning. I mean, it was a good thing and a bad thing. Bad thing that the tooth had to get pulled, but a good thing because he's starting to feel a little better. And apparently it was massively infected, and he didn't realize that it was quite so massively infected. Or had been for a while. So we'll get this guy all tucked in. So we might be getting a thunderstorm in a little bit. Just so you guys know. So I might have to pause occasionally and just double check our radar because it had a severe thunderstorm warning on it. But that's still in Oklahoma. So I don't know if it's going to affect us to that degree or not. So we got those two there. Alright. We'll work on getting this guy. So this is just going to be about where you want your shrubbery to hang out in this section. Really. And what shape you want yours to be. As we are putting in our dark pre-shrubs, I guess, our shadows on them. The deep dark of the shrubbery. I know we started a little bit early today, but I was up. Didn't sleep that well. Kept waking up to check on the husband and stuff. Well, no, every time you moved, I was making sure you were okay. And
yeah, sorry, and I was moving like every hour, so I apologize. I tried not to, but...
it can't be helped.
Well, still.
And then Zuzu joined us and was trying to his damnedest to shove me off the bed again. Because I'm a third-class citizen in this house, according to him. I'm pretty sure he would choose a cat over me at this point. If the cat could feed him. All I am is his servant. And he makes sure that I know that. Momo at least pretends to like me. And we ordered some wooden plaques, rectangles, to work on the farmer's market stuff. I hope I have enough gesso. I think I do. I at least have enough to get started. Though I am beginning to think that I should rescue that paintbrush from the bathroom that's been sitting on the counter that I just haven't rescued yet. From when we painted my mom's room. I left it there to dry and it's just kind of still hanging out there. Because that might make putting the gesso on the unfinished wood a little bit easier. Uh-oh.
What's wrong?
The internet got stupid. OBS just like dropped a bunch of frames and everything went red and black. Like what? What happened? Hold on. Technical difficulties. What on earth? I thought I heard a noise and then I was like, I wonder if that was thunder, and I was thinking about checking the radar. No, it wasn't thunder. Nope, OBS is being a shithead. What the fuck is happening? Why are we dropping frames? Is this my punishment for starting early? I don't think it's our internet.
Well, it's not the internet.
I think it's OBS. So it's somewhere between me and where OBS is routing through. Which I think is Dallas. I moved the radar to a different a different screen so I can check it easier. Like, what? Internet? OBS? Could we not? We behave, please. Let's see. If it's gonna... Wow, I'm like really behind now. Like a really big delay now. Let's behave, okay? I had looked down because I was trying to fix the unruliness of the spiky shrub, and out of the corner of my eye I noticed that the dashboard image on my browser went black for Twitch, and then it said encoding error or player error or some bullshit, and I'm like, what? And then I looked over and OBS was dropping frames and was red, and I was like, excuse you? Alright, that's got a little bit of a Pac-Man thing happening here. Alright, well, hopefully it's gonna behave now. I feel bad that we're almost done this project and the other project isn't finished being edited yet. I am working on it, I promise. And it's not something that I can have the husband do because he will flip his shit if I ask him to edit that for how I'm editing it. He might do 10 minutes of it and he's like, nope, I'm out, this is dumb. So I'm not even gonna ask. Besides, he still has a project to finish for one of our friends, and I don't have money to pay somebody to edit, so I'm just gonna have to bear with my slow ass. Does mean I'm gonna have to put the Diablo project on hold, that I was recording, because I've got some other stuff that's gonna take a bit more precedence. sorry about that, but it didn't seem like that many people were really watching that one anyway. We do have the season starting tomorrow, I think.
I forgot it was that soon.
Yeah, I told you, so I was like,
Sorry.
oh, it's alright.
We'll have to do our exploring with our seasonal characters then.
Is it tomorrow or is it on the 20th? Like, I don't know why they were saying for a smooth transition you needed to have all of the shit done. We have at least completed the campaign on someone. So I don't know if the fact that we haven't done all of the side quests yet, or found all of the altars, I don't know how much that's going to impact us.
The side quests matter less than unlocking the location of everything.
So do we just need to go on a mad dash through the entire map later tonight?
We could.
With somebody, whether it's the lower guys or the 60s. We might survive better if we take the 60s. Especially if we end up in a PvP area, which we're gonna have to open the map.
Oh, I wasn't gonna bother with that. It's not like I'm gonna engage in PvP anywhere.
I mean, we've accidentally run through the PvP area on the one set, which I think was the wizard and necromancer, but wasn't all of it. It was only part of it. I was really thinking we were gonna get a piece of that thunderstorm, but it seems like it's gonna stay in Oklahoma, at least for now. Alright, so we're gonna put this guy maybe about there. Again, this is all where you want to place it now. Got about an hour's worth of editing, or a video edited last night. I was kind of mad because I kept getting distracted and I couldn't stay focused. Usually if I have like a lot of stuff playing, I can focus a little bit better, which sounds kind of stupid. So I had like faint music in the background and I was listening to something else over top of it. Sometimes it can be even more distracting, and other times I'm like, okay, I can do this. Last night was just a terribly distracting night.
Sorry.
It's not your fault. I ended up on Instagram. I was gonna go to bed because I was getting tired, and then I ended up on Instagram, and then I was just scrolling through because I've got a lot of art people on my feed, and I was just looking at how they were doing stuff and like their little video reels, and I was like, oh, that's neat. Oh, that's neat. Oh, cool. That's cute. Oh, look at that. And then the next thing I knew, I was like, oh, fuck, it's been 45 minutes. I need to go to bed.
I wonder what the fuck you were doing.
Yeah.
There was a long period where you were just kind of sitting there.
Yeah. Yeah, it happens. Distracted brain took over and I just kind of shut down for a little while. I was like, girl, go to bed. What was that?
I told my mother about going to the dentist.
They didn't float away in the floodwaters? apparently had been flooding up there somewhere. So this one was a bit of a chunky guy, so he's going to take a little bit more tapping to get him adjusted. I also picked up some smaller, not half dowel rods, but actual round dowel rods, because I might try to do some 4x4s on this that'll go a little bit faster. I wasn't sure what the hell I was listening to. You guys can't hear it, though. You shouldn't be able to hear it. That storm's gonna... we're not even gonna get any of the rain. That's kind of shitty. And really disappointing. You know, what I've got going on in the background is not stream friendly. So... you know, I think I gave up editing around 2:30. I was also, like, having a massive war with myself over if I wanted to make something to eat. I was, like, starting to fantasize about the cheesesteak bites that I had made the other night, and I was like, I've got 2 rolls left in the freezer. I was like, I could make them. Hey, Zorts. But then I know how much you wanted a bite of it the other night, and I know your face was fucked up, so I'm like, I don't want to do that to you.
Honey, you don't have to not eat because...
And I didn't feel like cooking and making a mess.
There we go.
It was twofold. So I was like, that's going to be even more dishes, and I'm like... and I was kind of expecting to have to do the dishes tonight.
Sorry.
Which I think will probably end up happening.
We'll see what happens.
Because I'm gonna be out of cookware tonight. There's not enough pots in this house to accommodate the amount of corn my mom insists that I cook her. So we're gonna give Zorts a shout out. Zorts. Yeah, okay. Yeah, username. I get that. Put in the username, dumbass. It's really hard to type with 2 fingers encumbered. XORTZTZ. The GOBLI. Hey, there we go. I can type. Zorts is a fellow streamer and friend I made through the WoW Challenges community back when I was involved with them. He does wrestling and some Harvestella, sometimes once in a great while, Sims, although you haven't done Sims in a while. The fuck else do you do?
Stardew Valley.
Stardew Valley. Drunk Stardew Valley sometimes. But you're mostly doing wrestling right now. Whatever RPG strikes your fancy. So they say things happen in 3s, sir. They say things happen in 3s. And I'm beginning to believe them. Because we had 3 big emergency expenditures almost back to back. We had to replace the husband's phone unexpectedly. We had to replace our external freezer that was like waist high. And then Russell had to have a tooth emergency pulled this morning. For fuck's sake. I just can't seem to leave that credit card empty. I mean, I'm glad we have it for emergencies, because if we didn't have it, we'd be fucked. But, yeah. Yep. Yippers. So it was like 140-ish to replace his phone, maybe 150 after the armor. The freezer was just under 200. And his emergency tooth pull, the tooth was broken to begin with. We knew it was going to have to get pulled at some point. However, it had gotten infected and had been infected for a while, and apparently his tooth's like, guess what? Dun dun dun. It's happening now. And, apparently it was so infected, he was in so much pain yesterday. He had called the clinic that did the last one, or not really clinic, but office, and they're okay with dealing with people with severe anxiety and stuff, and he didn't have too bad of an experience when he was there with the last one. And he's like, hey. So they originally couldn't get him in until tomorrow, and I was like, oh god. But then they called back, and apparently they had a cancellation or something, I guess. And they're like, we can see you in like an hour, and he's like, I'm there. So that ended up being $99 for the emergency exam, and then another $3 something to have it pulled. And apparently it was so badly infected, what they used to numb his face didn't do a fucking thing. They either...
Oh, no, it helped some.
Oh, it did help some?
But it's when they started getting the part that had the infection attached to it out, that it just... There's only so much you can do.
So, he's like, I actually ended up crying. Yes. It hurts so bad. I was like, oh, damn.
I was crying like a motherfucker.
I probably would have been crying from the very beginning. So, yay. Had to be done, though. And while he was there, he got an estimate on another broken one that...
Yeah, they basically said, hey, you want to avoid having it be that bad. You want to get it out before it gets infected.
We hadn't realized it was infected, to be fair, though. But that might have been why you've been feeling shitty for a while. And we just weren't sure what was going on. And then it just kind of reached its tipping point. It's getting darker outside. Little's asleep on the bed. Except her mouth is ever so slightly open. And I swear I can see her 2 front fangs and a bit of her tongue. It is so fucking adorkable. But we ordered the new felting mat. Yay. Excited about that. 'Cause this thing is pretty beat up. And I went with the one that I did, which is a different brand than this one was. Simply because the dude that came up with the design of the other one demonstrated it being used and then talked about how to maintain it and clean it. And I'm like, wow, I appreciate you so much now. I'm gonna give you a try. Because I was originally thinking I was gonna have to buy like a animal de-shedder to get the stuck in fluff off of the mat. And I actually had one in my cart. It was cashmere combs or whatever. And it was a pack of 3 for $6.99. It was the cheapest one I found. And he showed how to clean it. And he goes, just pull the fluff out with your fingers if any get stuck. If that doesn't do it enough, take a razor. Like a shave your face, legs razor. And just run it over the top. And I was like, that's it? I can get... I mean, I have an extra razor in the house, or I can get some from Dollar Tree. I was like, you just saved me so much money, sir. Thank you for being practical and not making me spend $500 on a tool. Not that that would have happened, but...
$500?
No. It wouldn't have happened.
Well, was that how much they were going
No.
for? I was gonna say, Jesus
No.
Christ.
You know how some people are with their special products and how you have to buy a special tool to clean, to do the maintenance on it and stuff. You've seen those before, where like the main product will cost pennies compared to the accessories that you need. It was a example situation. Kind of like an inkjet printer where the printers aren't that expensive usually, but then when you have to go to buy the ink, it's like, oh god, we're gonna have to like sell the house just to buy a cartridge of ink. We gave up on inkjet printers because we didn't necessarily have to use one, and we do so little printing that the ink was solidifying. So we have a laser printer. It's a pain in the ass when you need something in color. We can only do black and white. But the toner goes a hell of a lot further for the toner cartridge than the inkjet cartridges ever did for us for the price. So I can't remember when we last replaced that toner cartridge. 2 years ago? A year ago?
Would have been at least a couple.
I think it was like 2. I feel like we might be coming up on needing a new one soon, because we've been doing a fair amount of printing lately, dealing with my dad's shit.
Not that much.
We still owe some people some paperwork on that, but we can't remember who asked for or where it was supposed to go. So we're waiting for the next round of bills to show up so we can get addresses to send it back to. Or phone numbers to call. Because it took us a while to find the paperwork that they were asking for. Like, really? So we still don't know if anybody's gonna try to be dickheads about anything. We don't know if anybody's gonna try to take us to court yet. Because he owed a shit ton of money. I'm like, stop buying stuff, please. Stop buying stuff. Please stop buying stuff. I was like, you don't have the money to spend. Please stop buying this. I'm like, meh. I'm like, stop it. But at least we found out in this state they can't come after us or the spouse. One small saving grace, I guess. I don't know, and I don't know what states they can. We should probably look into that. So we know not to go there. Well, to be perfectly honest, we don't have a lot in joint name right now.
Yeah, but any place we live at is going to be in joint.
Yeah, true.
So
That's still something we need to look into. before we make any potential moves down the road. Another factor to add to the list. See, they need to teach you this kind of shit in school. How not to screw yourself over later in life. Instead of, you know, some other useless shit. Can we have a practical life classes? How to boil water without burning your house down. I guess that was home ec. I really hated home ec though.
Now you got 50% of the answer why people don't do that no more.
Yeah. Like, I was scared to death of the sewing machines. I know that sounds ridiculous, but I was. I was more scared to death that I was gonna break something. I think they were like, if you break a needle, then you have to buy a replacement or some shit. I was like, you're fucking kidding me. It was like a big deal if we broke a needle on a sewing machine. They're like, make sure you move the pin. Go slow. And I'm like, I really don't like this thing. Like, all of their, like, freaking out about stuff just made me more scared of them. So, if we need anything sewing machined, Russell usually does it, because he's like, whatever. I can kind of get by hand sewing something if I need to. Like, I can fix a button. I could probably sew a patch onto something if I needed to. It wouldn't be the prettiest patch, but I could do it. But my Klutz state's also terrified of using an iron, so... Probably with good reason, though. My hand likes to suddenly let go of stuff. Or my one hand, at least. And sometimes, you know, as we talked about earlier, I don't have the greatest focus in the world. And with a hot iron, it only takes a moment of distraction for some shit to go wrong. So it's probably better that I don't use one. So how is Zort today? I didn't get the chance to ask yet. I'm gonna drive myself crazy on trying to edit this particular video, or this project, because not only have I changed out lighting rigs in the middle of it, which is gonna piss me off when I'm editing because I'm gonna see the difference. I keep moving this thing all over the place. At least OBS seems to have settled and appears to be behaving at the moment. Still not quite sure what the frame rate droppage was about earlier. Unless we had like a micro stutter. Which could be possible. Alright, so we got that in there. Got a little guy here. Alright, so let's kind of just pull this guy apart. A little bit. I feel bad. Like, Russell doesn't normally eat when I make, like, beef cube stuff with, like, pot roast seasoning. And he walked in earlier before I got started. He goes, "What did you do to your food on the stove? What did you do different?" And it sounded like it was going to be a bad thing. And I'm like, I added a little more onion powder than I normally do. And he goes, it smells fucking amazing and I can't eat it. And I was like, but you don't eat it anyway. So I was kind of confused. And then I felt really, really bad. I'm like, oh. It wasn't pot roast, it was just the beef cubes, which he doesn't normally like. But I usually cook it till it's like falling apart, because my mom can't chew stuff with her dentures properly, because her dentures are so worn down. Usually I have to cook the fuck out of everything until it's like falling apart when you go to pick it up. At least as far as beef is concerned. Chicken, it's not so bad. I was originally just wanting to make pizza and be done with it, but I'm like, then you're going to be mad because you can't eat any.
I told you not to worry about it.
Oh, I do worry about it because I'm going to have an extra pizza that I don't know what the fuck to do with. I don't want to waste flour. And my mom refuses to do leftovers, so I can't exactly, save the other second pizza to reheat for tomorrow or the next day, because she's like, no, I don't like leftovers. But then she'll save stuff to eat later and never eats it. I'm like, if you don't do leftovers, why the fuck are you saving it? Just throw it out. And she gets mad when I give her dinner. She's like, you give me too much food. I'm like, you want like a thumb-sized portion of dinner. No, you're gonna fucking eat. I'm not saying you have to eat everything I give you, but you have options to eat however much you want. She's like, well, if I want more, I'll just go out and get more. I'm like, there's not always more to get. I cook in portion sizes. It saves the budget. We pre-portion the food out when we go to freeze it, like meat and stuff. So when I was cooking mostly for me, I would just put like one chicken breast in a Ziploc bag. You know, that would be a meal. But since now I'm cooking for two of us, I have to put two in the Ziploc bag. But half the time she only eats like half of a chicken breast, so I'm like, okay. So then sometimes if I know ahead of time, or if it's something with the way I'm cooking it, I can cut it correctly and so it doesn't get icky seasoning on it. I can cook it dog safe, so then the dogs can have a little bit extra. You know, because there's certain stuff they can't have that's toxic to them. So dinner's always a production around here. Dinner's never quick, dinner's never easy. Always pulling out my recipe binder. Well, not always, most of the time. Depends on what we're making. I really want to make bourbon sauce again. Relax, there's no actual bourbon in it. They just call it bourbon sauce. I don't know why they call it a bourbon sauce. There's literally no alcohol in it whatsoever. But I kind of like it. Maybe it's everything but the alcohol. I don't know. But I rather like it. But we don't always have apple juice on hand, so I can't always make it. And we're out of juice boxes, which is what I started getting, because they've got a bit more shelf life on them. I don't have to open a huge container of apple juice and then feel like I'm wasting it. I mean, I try to drink it around it, but, you know, when I primarily got it for cooking. Yeah, I know, what the fuck is quick and easy? So, my mom doesn't like macaroni and cheese, and I had gotten a huge box of like 18 boxes of macaroni and cheese from Sam's when we went, but it's the more involved macaroni and cheese where you have to like add the milk and the butter, and it's the powdered pouch. I really prefer the cheese sauce pouch that's pre-mixed, because that, it's more cheesy than the powdered shit. It just tastes better to me. But we can't afford the deluxe bougie mac and cheese.
It's expensive shit.
It is expensive
it's
shit.
Like $5 a box.
Cause like 3 boxes is like, what, almost $9 or something? When the 3-pack. I'm like, this is fucking mac and cheese, man. Why the fuck is mac and cheese so goddamn expensive? And I tried to get the Walmart version of the bougie mac and cheese. It just tastes like salt. So I'm like, yeah, no. That's kind of gross. So, that's kind of off the table. Sometimes the Walmart version will do. Like, the Walmart low sodium soy sauce is fine. Some Walmart stuff you can get by with. Not a lot of it, though. There is a taste difference between store brand and label sometimes. Sometimes. Like, I could do the Walmart little mini pizzas. Those were okay. So, I mean, it depends on the thing. Right? But yeah, no, quick and easy doesn't happen. So, the amount of cookware I went through last night, because I wanted mac and cheese. What the fuck did we have last night? Oh, I made beef strips. Kind of like stir-fry meat, but I had a teriyaki pineapple bottled sauce that I put over it, and I did broccoli and carrot chopped up with it that I cooked in the same pan with the beef strips. And my mom's like, well, I have to have my ear of corn, and I'm like, oh my god, yes, the corn. So there was a pan for that, pan for the beef and that the broccoli and the carrots were all in, and then I made macaroni and cheese because I really wasn't feeling rice last night, and Russell, I wanted to make sure he had something to eat because he couldn't really eat normally, and I'm like, well, that's soft, right? So I made that for him. So many dishes. It galls me when I have to use more than 2 pans to make dinner. Absolutely galls me. Alright, now we need to work on highlighting these guys. Sometimes I will reuse the same pan just to eliminate a pan, but we don't have that many pans available tonight because I didn't do dishes. He's been mostly doing them, and he didn't end up doing them last night because he didn't feel well. And then when I went to go get dinner started for tonight, I was standing in the kitchen, I'm looking at my pot options, and I'm like, fuck. I either need to wash something now, wash something later, or figure out a workaround. I kind of wanted rice tonight, but I guess we're going to do noodles. My mom loves egg noodles, so I guess we're going to do beef cubes over egg noodles. I can cook the egg noodles in the same pot as the beef. And then I'll have to dirty another big pot for her corn. Because, I mean, she's so obsessed with corn right now. We had pizza the other night, and she's like, and I want my corn. I'm like, you want corn on the cob with pizza? And she's like, yeah, I gotta have my corn. She goes, I want 2 slices of pizza and my corn on the cob. And I'm like, well, for starters, I make you your own little mini pizza now, so that's what you're gonna get. she's like, well, I only want 2 slices. I'm like, I don't care how much you eat of it. I'm just telling you that's what you're getting. Because it's just easier that way. We were originally just doing 2 pizzas, and her and Russell were splitting 1 pizza because they liked the same toppings, and I didn't like those toppings. Sorry, I'm trying to get the right amount of fluff here that I'm looking for. But then it just became easier just to make her own little tiny pizza. I'm like, you might be helping pay for the groceries, but this is what I'm making. The other night she wanted chicken parmesan, so I had to make that. That was a little bit involved. I've got a little bit of panko left. So I don't know if I have enough panko to make another round of chicken nuggets. That makes some good chicken nuggets. It's a fucking trial. It's not quick. It's really not. But it makes some good chicken nuggets. I know it would be easier just to buy a bag of chicken nuggets, but sometimes I don't like the looks of the inside of the chicken nuggets from the grocery store, like the pre-made ones. Sometimes I can not think about it and just eat it. But I'm weird about food textures and stuff, so I found it's just easier. It's probably better in the long run. There's probably not as much crap in it. So we get the chicken breast. I thaw it out overnight in the fridge, and then we chop it up into chunks. Then we have the bowl of flour, the bowl of egg wash. There's usually 1 or 2 eggs, depending on how much chicken there is, and a little bit of water. And then the panko, and everything's got its seasonings in it, and it makes a huge mess, and it takes me a little while, but and then when I went to make chicken parmesan, I was like, okay, what kind of pasta do you want? Because I don't want pasta. I was like, Mom, you gotta have pasta with chicken parmesan of some description. I was like, it doesn't have to be angel hair or regular spaghetti, but we gotta have pasta. I was like, how about I go and get some fun pasta? She's like, fun pasta? I'm like, yeah, something in a shape. You know, that way it's pasta, but it doesn't look like spaghetti, and maybe you'll eat it. And she kind of gave me this look, like I was fucking crazy. Well, I know that look. I get that look from Russell sometimes, so I was like, yeah, okay. I was like, well, I'm getting fun pasta regardless, so you're lost then. So when we were at Walmart, I was trying to look at the pasta shapes, and we had written out the list, and Russell's like, fun pasta. It's how we put it on the list. And I could just hear the tone, and I'm like, shut up. And because you know there was a tone. And I'm standing there and I'm looking at it. He goes, what kind of fun pasta? I'm like, stop making fun of me. And I found these tiny little mini bow tie pastas, and I'm like, oh my god, they're so cute. They were so much smaller than the regular sized bow ties, and I'm like, that's it. That's our fun pasta this time. So I brought the box home, and I said to my mom, I said, look, see, we got fun pasta for chicken parmesan. And she's standing there, she goes, fun pasta? I said, look, they're little tiny bow ties. Look how cute they are. They're like the size of my thumbnail. I was like, oh, look. I said, aren't these fun? And she's like, okay, fine. Only a tablespoon, though. So I was like I said, you're getting it. Whether you eat it or not is your problem. This is what's for dinner. I know I'm crazy. I don't need people to rub it in my face. We know there's some kind of divergency going on upstairs. we're to the point now in life where we're just trying to roll with it. I mean, if I could afford the dino chicken nuggets, I probably would have been playing with them instead of eating them, but... Rawr, let's go to catch a Blake. You know, that kind of stuff. I'm still very much a child. Oh, goodness. Oh no, it's the honey pits. I like ketchup and honey mixed together. Sometimes. Not a lot of honey, though. It makes a mess. But I have a terrible sweet tooth. Hey, can you stir that while you're at? I'm getting better about the sweet things, but also, at the same time, not really. We got a bag of limes when we were at Sam's. So, because I used to, for a while, we were doing our own sort of Italian ice / sorbet. It was somewhere in between because I didn't add the honey to it. We were just doing the simple syrup and the pulverized fruit in the blender, and we're using the frozen strawberry, mango, pineapple, peach medley. I was gonna say, I know there was another one in there, from Walmart until and then they had a recall on them because of a hepatitis A thing, and I was like, oh god, but it was the bigger size bag and we were getting the smaller size bag, and I don't know why the smaller size bag wasn't affected unless it was packaged in a different facility. So that kind of spooked me from using that for a while. So I was like, I had to find another alternative. So we had found key limes in Walmart the one day, and I was like, ooh, we don't normally have these. They're a bitch to juice with this juicer that we had. So we got regular limes when we were at Sam's. And so I juiced all them up by hand, added just a little bit of water, like a 1.5 cups of water to it, and like 1 cup and 1/8 of sugar. Mixed that all together, and then we threw that in the freezer. So I mean, I guess it's a little better than buying store stuff, maybe? Maybe? I'm probably just deluding myself, but maybe. Sorry, it was too much fluff. I'm trying to... I don't want it to overpower our green here. I mean, I could have just bought some fresh peaches, but the lime's worth $4 for a big bag. So I was like, okay, we'll go with that. And I was really, 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 really wanting popcorn again. So we broke down and we bought a container of popcorn kernels because we have an air popper. Used it the first time in a while, and it was fine. We must have had this popcorn air popper for maybe 15 years. No, 12 years. Shortly after we moved in. 10 plus years, we'll put it that way. And it was fine. And then the second time I went to use it recently, when I went to unplug it from the wall, because there's no on-off switch, you just like pull the plug from the wall to turn it off. Poorly designed model. When I went to unplug it, the plug was very, very warm on the outlet, but the rest of the plug was cool. And I was like, huh? I was like, why is that a thing? Like, what is this? Like, wouldn't it be warmer closer to the machine? I didn't understand what was happening, and it scared me. So I'm like, I don't know why you're so warm this close to the outlet, but I feel like you shouldn't be, because it wasn't the whole plug that was warm, it was just where it was plugged into the wall, and like maybe 3 or 4 inches past the wall connection, and I'm like, I don't know if that's normal. And then I was feeling the other plugs that were plugged into like the same outlet block, and none of them felt warm at all, and I'm like, y'all know about this. So I kind of unplugged it and kind of isolated it because I didn't know what the fuck was going on. And I was like, husband, we need a new air popper. And he goes, why? And I said, the plug got really warm. Like, alarmingly warm on this thing. And he's like, oh. He goes, well, it draws a lot of power. And I'm like, yeah, but it didn't feel normal. So, yeah, I want a new popper because this thing's also kind of old, and I'm concerned. And also, my pansy ass, the air popper scares the shit out of me whenever I use it. I need like battle armor when I use this fucking thing. Because it's an older model, like I said, but if you don't put the max amount of popcorn kernels in there while it's spinning, getting hot, while like the air motor's running, some of the kernels pop out of the popcorn chute, I guess we'll call it, and they're hot, but they haven't popped yet, so it's like little tiny hot pellets flying. Most of the time they land in the bowl. However, you need like a shield, like a really big pot lid, and like of gloves and stuff a lot of the time when dealing with the hot air poppers, because as it gets going and the kernels would start coming out that were popped, you know, they're shooting into their bowl, fine, whatever. Occasionally, you'll have a kernel shoot out with the other popcorn that hasn't popped yet, and as it hits the bowl with the other popcorn, it's then exploding and popping, and except the force of the kernel popping is shooting everything like out of the bowl. So then you wind up with like these hot popcorn bits flying at your face and just popcorn everywhere. And I'm like, this is like becoming a contact sport just to make a snack. I'm like, and I don't really like microwave, like the bagged microwave popcorn. It's not supposed to be that great for you. But, I don't know, something about the actual made for the microwave stuff is kind of weird to me in the pouches. Not that huge of a fan of it. It's either too buttery or, I don't know, I don't, sometimes it tastes soggy. I much prefer the air popped stuff. And while I was looking for a replacement, and there were a few, there was some that actually had an on-off switch, and I was like, well, if we go with this model, I definitely want the one that has the on-off switch, so I'm not just pulling a running appliance plug straight out of the wall to turn it off. So that's also not fun, watching the little blue electricity bolts, as you pull the plug from the wall from something that's running. I found a microwave one that was an air popper. Yeah, it's gross. I was like, wait, a microwave air popper? What? What is this? So they've got like these silicone bowls with like lids that sit down in there. They don't clamp on, they just sit down in there to keep it from flying everywhere. And you can just put the kernels in and then put it in the thingy, put the right time on. Like your normal popcorn thingy. You don't have to add oil, you don't have to add butter. and I was watching the review videos on it, and everything seemed consistent. I was like, ooh. I was like, I want to try this. So Russell's like, well, I already spent this much, I might as well just put that on the card too. So we ordered my replacement air popper for my snackies, and I've actually been missing my popcorn snack at night because I'm like the only one that really eats the popcorn at the moment in the house. My mom found other like cheese puff that tastes like popcorn stuff. So she hasn't been interested in actual popcorn lately. And then we found some popcorn kernels on Amazon that was recommended. That's not supposed to get so stuck in your teeth. Like with the little tiny bits of shell. We're gonna try it. See how it goes. I'll let you guys know. I'm really excited for my new mat to show up though. It's gonna be a different size. It says 10 by 10. This is 8 by 10. So it'll be a little bit bigger. This might mostly fit on there now. We'll see. It said the size might vary just a little bit. As long as it's not smaller than this, I'm fine. We'll be okay. Just so long as it's not like a postage stamp. So we'll see what happens with that. And like I said, we ordered I ordered out of the last Twitch money, the rectangle plaques for the signs that we're gonna make. So it's 12 inches long by 6 inches wide that we're gonna turn into little hangy signs or little hangable art doodles, because I have to start putting inventory away if we do the farmer's market next year. It's gonna take me a while to build up an initial amount of stuff. But this weekend, if he's feeling up to it and he gets up in time and it's not raining, he might go do some recon at the farmer's market and like ask people, how does this all work? Like how do we need a business license? How do we do like taxes and shit? Because I don't know shit about that. And when I started talking about it, I was getting so overwhelmed. I started having a meltdown, and Russell's like, that's where I come in. He goes, I will handle that. He goes, I'm good with that. He goes, you handle the making of the things. He goes, I'll deal with the other stuff. And I'm like, okay. It's like, I will find out the things, and we'll go from there. But I have a very small amount of inventory in the grand scheme of things. I have maybe 10 or so magnets pre-made. I've got maybe 6 or 7 little mini canvases pre-done. Not enough to set up with. And he's like, well, you're probably gonna have to do some like farmy shit. So like pastures and farm animals and stuff. And I'm like, okay, I'm not really that great at drawing farm animals, so I might have to find my tracing paper and get the art pad out and figure out some stuff with some reference images. Kinda, sorta. You okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now you told him you're definitely out tonight, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't know if you're gonna be able to talk that much by the time Wednesday comes. So, you might want to give him a heads up that you don't know about Wednesday yet. So, people might have seen on my Twitter where my name keeps popping up as being part of another project of our friends with oh, what the fuck is it? Final Fantasy. What's the number on that bitch?
8.
8. It's actually the husband, but the husband doesn't have a social media, so our friend's been using mine. I was half tempted to change the tag on my Twitter to Nisey and Mr. Nisey at NiseyBGN. But I haven't yet. I was kind of waiting to see if Twitter was going to fully implode before I bothered. So in the meantime, it's actually the husband that's involved with it. I'm not, actually. So that's why if you pop in there after seeing my name and you don't hear me, I'm not actually physically involved with the project. So the husband and one of his other friends are doing some like voice acting of some of the characters on the screen. And Tyler's trying to get that project wrapped up before he has to start classes again. I don't know when his classes start again. I don't know if it's August or September. Probably the middle of August. I don't know if he's gonna finish the game in time. And he's got the other friend doing voices is out in California. I think it's California.
I have no idea where Dan is.
I thought Dan moved to California. I could be wrong about that. Maybe I'm hallucinating. I know we have a friend through a friend of a friend, David, who was from California, who moved back to New Jersey with our other friend. Because California was just getting to be, I think, too expensive for them. Which is pretty sad that you're moving to New Jersey because California is too expensive. New Jersey's not that cheap. It's pretty expensive in New Jersey too. It's not quite California expensive, but it's still pretty expensive. That's why we bailed from New Jersey. I'd love to go back to New Jersey because I miss my comfort food areas. I miss the boardwalk. I miss our haunts that we would go to on the rare occasions that we would go out. And brave the peopliness out there, but the boardwalk was really only worth visiting in the summer. Because in the winter it was just raw and nasty. A lot of the time. Cold and windy. And housing was getting to be really fucking expensive. Like, we couldn't afford an apartment together. With both of our incomes put together, it still wasn't enough to fucking cover rent, or it would just barely cover rent, and then we'd have no money to eat or pay utilities. And that was with us working full-time at the casino. I'm like, how are these other fucking people doing this shit? But a lot of casino employees either worked at multiple properties or worked at multiple things in the building, depending on what you were doing. And came across several people that worked doing one thing at one property and then doing something else at a different property. It was crazy. Nope, nope, nope. You need to stay. Okay? You need to chill out here. And with us working overnight, it was going to be extremely difficult for us to both work 2 jobs. And we really didn't want to work 2 jobs. Because then when the fuck would we see each other? When the fuck would we be home to sleep? I was struggle busting enough as it was working 1 overnight shift. There was no way that I could physically or mentally work an overnight shift, being fucking exhausted, go to another job immediately from there. And then, you know, work until like 4 in the afternoon, 5 o'clock, and go home and go to bed when I had to get up and take the bus at like 8 o'clock. Like, what? That don't work. I mean, you might be able to bully yourself through it for a brief period of time, but that ain't gonna work long term. Sounds like a tractor going by. Oh, so apparently they're adding a road in our town. I don't venture onto Facebook very often since I don't have to keep an eye on the WoW Challenges social stuff anymore, since I dipped out of that. So I don't really have a reason to be on Facebook all that much unless I'm trying to figure out what the fuck's going on around town, but occasionally I'll dip in, see if anybody left me a message personally or posted on my stuff. I've already told some people that I'm not on here that much anymore. And I saw a comment from somebody in town and they're like, what's with all the construction equipment over here? What are they doing? And somebody's like, oh, they're putting in a road. Now there seems to be some confusion about what this road is for. Some people said they're putting in a road to connect this subdivision to this school. And some people were like, oh good, maybe they'll finally calm down the traffic on this other street that was the primary road to head to the school complex. And somebody's like, no, the road's connecting the subdivision to the highway, I guess the bypass. And then somebody else was like, oh yeah, because having, and then somebody's like, well, maybe it'll slow the traffic down on this other street that people have been bitching about the speed of traffic on. And they're like, oh yeah, and having it go through a subdivision is really going to help with that. Or having it go through a neighborhood is really going to help with that. And I'm like, bitch, where do you think this road's been going? It's already been going through a neighborhood, but maybe if it's split between 2 different neighborhoods, people won't be so fucking, like, just like, what? The comment didn't make any sense to me, and I know they were just being a sarcastic bitch, but I'm just like, yeah, okay. Just solidifies my hope that one day we can relocate. Because I think some of the people in this town are a little too sunbaked for my ability to cope with them. And that's the nicest way I can put it. Oh, my leg is... I ache so bad in my knees right now. Oh, hey, there's a thunderstorm.
Oh.
It's up in Siloam. We might get a piece of that. I am telling you, I fucking hurt like it's gonna rain. Whew. Oh, hang on. I gotta adjust how I'm sitting. My knee is angry. In no way I am adjusting how I'm sitting seems to be helping. It looks like there was briefly a severe thunderstorm warning on that particular storm. Doesn't seem to be there now. Alright, we're just, well, we're bullshitting here. We're just kind of fluffing up, highlighting our bushy guys here. That is a bone deep ache. Damn. They also put us under a heat advisory through 9 p.m. tomorrow. And Russell's like, it's gonna be overnight. Now, either it's gonna end when the sun goes down and then continue again tomorrow morning, or they just decided, fuck it, we're just gonna do a blanket one all the way through. Which they might have decided to do. But he read it, and the way it read, it was like it was through overnight into tomorrow night. And he's like, okay. I was like, yeah, I don't get it either, but alright. Don't get it. Okay. So we're slowly getting there. Slowly getting there. I have to turn this up a little bit because I don't know why the lighting seems darker. It's very dark outside. Like, alarmingly dark.
Yeah, it has gotten really dark all
For it being almost 3 p.m. in the afternoon. I had opened the curtain because I was like, well, let's have a little bit of natural light in. And now I'm sitting here, I'm like, it feels like it's like 7 o'clock at night. I'm like, what? I keep having these little mini panic moments of like, oh god, what time is it? Did I overstream? Like the one night I told my mom, sorry, I'm running late. We'll probably won't have dinner till like 6. She goes, 6? I was like, you've eaten later than this. So that's kind of why I have to stop around 4:15-ish. Depending on what we're having for dinner. Can't give her too much shit because she is paying for the groceries. Well, some of the groceries. We buy a few of them, but she's been buying the bulk of them. Work on getting this guy worked into here. So this is just, you know, we're just laying in some different colors on top of the darkness of our bushes. Kind of like how we did back in here. Gotta lay in some different colors so we can see that there's different shrubbery shapes in here. Alright. I don't know if we're going to be doing, it might be starting to rain. I don't know if we're going to be doing a lot of, streaming of the farmer's market prep stuff. We might stream a little bit of it. If I do, it's going to be late night. As I have time. But it really depends, because it might just be, you know, just me working away on it. Without having to worry about lighting setups and things. I might put the husband to work gessoing stuff. Because he can handle that. There's nothing he can fuck up. There's nothing for him to be nervous about. It's just literally slapping the gesso on. A 5-year-old could do it. I tried to teach him to Bob Ross and he got too nervous.
Not nervous, just uncomfortable. It's not my style.
He prefers the digital, non-messy art. And I have trouble with the digital art. Almost because, I don't know if it's because I'm not actually holding a real paintbrush. And I can't feel the pressure of the brush touching the surface, I guess. I don't know.
Is this your last time using your ancient, now well-rounded felt pad?
It might be.
Oh my goodness.
I know, right? I might keep it, though, just as an emergency backup.
Yeah, whatever.
Because, I mean, it's still functionable. It's just... It's in sad shape. It doesn't come across very well on the thing, but... Yeah, it's... This should be flat. It's very much not.
You might need to switch sides.
I tried that. Oh, you mean...
Well, yeah, with the new one, you know...
Periodically
not after,
flip it over.
not after it becomes a dome, but before.
Like, do, like, one session on one side, and then do another session on the... Yeah.
In fact, we might mark the sides for you.
Yeah. Well, I think the one side has a Wool Buddy tag on it, so...
Oh, okay.
It has the name of the company on one of the corners, so...
Oh, shit. I'm so fucking hungry.
I'm sorry. Do I need to make you food?
There's not really anything that's gonna help.
Well, do I need to make you a milkshake, or...
I can make that myself if I get that desperate, but it's not real
Well, I
food.
didn't think that you should be...
I shouldn't, that's why I'm not eating.
Well, no, like, I was gonna use the stick blender, and you shouldn't be dealing with the vibration on
I'm
that.
just gonna use the real blender.
Alright.
If I make it. I might ask you to make one later instead.
You
We'll
don't
see how
want
I'm doing.
soup or nothing?
Nah, soup doesn't do anything for me.
Well, Jell-O apparently isn't doing anything for you either,
Okay,
so...
I also don't like your chicken noodle soup.
Well, that's
because
what I
it
got.
has a really weird fake chicken taste. I know it's not really fake chicken, but it certainly tastes like it. So, yeah.
Do you need to go get a can of soup?
I don't want to fuck about and not be able to eat it or something.
Alright.
It's okay. Oh, wow. Wind's picking up like crazy. We might get a piece of that.
It's concerningly dark out. I'm not gonna lie.
The wind is blowing hard enough that leaves are coming off.
Oh. Well, that's interesting. I mean, there's something kind of in Siloam. And there's something moving into Springdale. And there's a line of rain forming just to our west. So we might get a little something. Goblin says hi!
Hi, Zorts. Saw you on there earlier.
Sorry, he kind of stepped out of the room for a minute, so...
No, I caught it. Hi, Zorts. I'm now about 15% closer to looking like a meth head now. Kind of running out of teeth.
I kind of made a joke with him earlier. I'm like, oh god, you're gonna be like my dad soon. My dad only had like 2 teeth left in the end.
Honey, he only had 1 left at the
Oh,
end.
was it only
Yeah,
one?
He lost the last one few months before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He had a tooth.
But
No,
he also refused to
my
do
family
anything.
tends to have very strong front teeth, so I'll probably be okay. But
So, do you need pudding?
I have pudding, I just haven't made it.
I didn't see pudding.
I grabbed it while I was out.
Oh, like, I didn't see the box of pudding when I was handing you all of the stuff to put away.
That's because I'd already put it in the pantry.
Oh. Do I... mac and cheese is kind of soft. Do I need to make you some of that?
I don't think so.
Alright.
I'll be alright. I only have to make it a day. I just wish I'd been able to eat properly the day before is all. You know, something aside from the fucking pan of cornbread.
You had mac and cheese, too.
True, I did have mac and cheese that night.
Oh, shit, I can't wait to sleep today. Russell gonna sleep for reals.
Right, so don't bother you when you go to bed. Or are you sleeping out here?
We'll see. I might be sleeping out here again.
You know, with the ridiculous YouTube short videos that I keep sending you of animals that have voiceovers on them.
Yeah, not gonna lie, they kind of pissed me off. I stopped watching them. Because they're all kind of stupid and the voice annoys me.
Well, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, I know. Oh, I'm well aware what drives you to suddenly share a whole bunch of animal videos with me. I'm well aware it's 2 o'clock in the fucking morning and you're only half awake. I know. I know.
I mean, I don't know what he expects from me.
Oh my goodness.
Is her mouth still open?
No. Oh, you are adorable.
She looked like such a couch potato laying there earlier. Her mouth was open.
Like that, though. Sorry, Ken.
Ever so slightly. Her 2 little front fangs were showing. And you could see just the little tiny derpy blip of her tongue. She has her cute moments. I will say that.
She is an adorable cat. She is
when she's not being vampiric, yeah.
She's only vampiric because you guys never accepted her.
What do you mean?
She got her chewing out of her way with me. She chewed on me for a little while, and then she stopped.
She's still... No, she walks up and bites your leg from time to time
like,
and
very
stuff.
rarely, and she does it playfully.
She broke my skin on my one arm the other
that
day.
was an accident.
No, it wasn't. I was
Okay,
flea combing her and she got pissed.
Did you touch her butt?
No, I was going down her back and she's like...
Okay, yeah, she doesn't like it. She's like Nums. Once you get near the hips, she gets pissed sometimes.
I was mid-back. That's
Wow.
why I wasn't expecting it.
Maybe you just don't have the magic touch like Daddy does.
Well, then you need to flea comb the cat. But I was laying there last night. Russell had slept out in our room last night because he wasn't feeling well and he didn't feel like dealing with the watching the cats to make sure nobody got in or out of the other room on him unexpectedly. And I laid down. And a little while after I laid down, I'm hearing this noise and I'm like, what the fuck is the noise? And it almost sounded like somebody taking Velcro and obsessively, like, that's what it sounded like. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I half sat up and I'm like, trying to figure out where the noise is coming from so I could figure out who the hell I needed to yell at. Because it was kind of dark in the room. We only had the light from the crab tank on. And I'm like, where the fuck is what is that? And I'm like, what is happening? Russell's kind of asleep at that point. He had fallen asleep for a little bit. And I'm like, what the hell is this noise? And I keep hearing it. And I'm like, what?
We're definitely on the edge of it because I think I just heard distant thunder and more a couple raindrops.
Yeah, so this is the noise I heard last night. You didn't hear it.
What you're doing now?
Yeah, and I'm like, what the fuck? I turned around and Little is sitting on Russell's side,
God, okay.
all curled up, licking the side of his arm or like his side near his armpit, just licking him.
You sure it was me?
Yeah.
She wasn't licking herself?
No.
Because I didn't wake up.
It was you.
I was dead to the world. Well,
Yeah.
when I finally fell asleep,
Yeah,
I was dead.
yeah,
to the
no,
world,
it was definitely you because I didn't know what cat it was. I thought it was Peanut. Peanut and Little look identical except for the fact that Peanut has more white on his feet. Little doesn't have any white on her feet. She has a little bit of white like around her nose, but so does Peanut. Slightly. And it was dark and I'm like, what cat is this? And I tried to touch the cat on the head. I'm like, stop. And And they kind of leaned their head back and they looked at me funny, like, nah. Like, fuck off, bitch. And I'm like, it didn't meow like Peanut usually does when I disturb him. And Peanut will sit next to Russell on his desk and just lick him. And it sounded similar to that. I'm like, Peanut, stop. And I went to turn back to lay down and it started up again. I said, stop. And then I'm like, what cat is this? And I was rubbing around on the cat trying to find their tail. And I finally found it because it was tucked up under them. And I pulled it out and it was a short tail. And I'm like, Little? Because Little has a very different tail length and texture compared to Peanut. But they look almost identical in the dark. Peanut's a little bit chunkier, but on a quick glance, it's hard to tell who is who. And she's like, meow. I'm like, stop that. You're gonna lick his skin raw, and then he's gonna be upset when he gets up. I don't need him flipping out and being anxious over a sore spot that you created. Stop. And she did it a couple more times, and I was like, stop. And then she finally stopped and kind of settled in and was using the back of his arm as a pillow from how he was laying. And she just kind of had this little nest going. And it was so fucking adorable. And then Russell kind of woke up and started to turn over, and then she fell off of him. And he's like, what's happening? I'm like, the cat was laying on you. And he's like, oh. Oh, that might have been some thunder. In fact, I'm pretty sure it was. As long as the power doesn't go out, we should be good. Yeah, so I'm excited for our new mat. We're gonna get our wooden placky thingies. It'll be good. It'll be good. I might at some point pick up. I still have to figure out what we're doing for Christmas for my mom. There's at least one Christmas gift I have to make. We might just do something like this. I don't know if I'm gonna stream it or not. We might record it. So there's at least one Christmas gift I have to make. I can't really make Russell much of anything because he's such a pain to gift. Oh, yeah, it's thundering. Ooh. I felt that vibration. Either that or Russell's moving stuff in the kitchen, which he shouldn't be. So apparently the new freezer has lights on the bottom of it. And I didn't know this. I guess it's down near, like, I guess it's a power light indicator, and maybe the other one is a temperature control light indicator or something. I didn't know it lit up, so when I went to open the freezer the other night, I saw these glowing lights reflecting off the bottom of the fridge because of where we have it tucked in. And I was like, what the hell is that blue and green light? And then I remembered that he had said there was some kind of knobs down there, and I was like, ooh. Okay, I guess that sort of makes sense. Sort of. Really? There's lightning moving in and he's playing in with the water in the kitchen. Boy. Dub it. Alright. So it's coming together, it's taking shape. Slowly but surely. And we're just kind of taking our time getting our highlights put in here, which we will probably get finished this session. So next session on Sunday, we will paint our dowels. We'll get them gessoed up, and I'll try to pick out a paint color ahead of time, and we'll get them all looking spiffy, and we'll attach them on stream so you can see how that goes. And if we finish early enough, we'll start our planning session. We'll see how much time painting takes us. But if we don't have enough time on Sunday, then next Monday we'll do our full planning section for the next couple of tutorials coming up in this season of Joy of Painting. So the next one is gonna be the lighthouse one. And then he's got one called the Old Mill, which I think has a water wheel on it. So that's gonna be something new that we've not done yet. I think it does. So that's kind of exciting. Kind of, sort of. And you know, we have, well, I've done one lighthouse. I don't believe it was streamed though. I think I did that off a stream right when we were first getting into this. But it'll be our first Bob lighthouse. I don't think he's done that many lighthouses, which is kind of surprising. He was more of a mountainy guy. He did a few beachy ones, but not many. Not too many. It was mostly woods and cabins and lakes and stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. That's just what he tended to do. So this guy I want to give a little bit more attention to, because we've got quite a few thin little hairs in here. So I want to make sure that we are properly attached. Don't want anybody getting any ideas about taking off on us. That shouldn't be too bad there. So I think we're going to swap colors, so we're not all full on there. Alright, what other colors we got here? Let's get some yellow. So we're just gonna kind of shape him a little bit. Oh, Momo, buddy, it's lightning out. The lightning's too close. You're gonna have to go on your puppy pad. Can we interest you in a piece of cornbread instead? Can we just give you the going potty treat? It's not safe to go out right now, buddy. Can I bribe you? I tried to bribe him last night because he wanted to go out potty. But Russell was asleep, and it was like 11:30, and I really didn't want to go outside by myself. Nobody else was awake, and I'm like, oh, buddy, how about I just give you your nighttime potty treat, and you just go on the pad? Can we do that? It worked one time before. Hi. Hi. Hi, Mosey Toes. Can I just give you the cornbread? Can we do that? Can we do cornbread and call it a day? Hi. Yeah, no, that doesn't work. Hi. Hi, my bud. Hi, Mr. Momo. Hi. You're a happy guy. Oh, I got a happy tail and everything. Yes. Hi, buddy. Can I get you a piece of cornbread instead? Give me 1 second. Alright, give me 1 second, you guys. There's lightning within 10 miles, but I don't think we should be stepping outside. I planned to come with 2-piece offerings, didn't quite work. I should have grabbed the one before I grabbed the other. There you go. How about that? Can we compromise? Because going outside for you to just stand there for 30 seconds isn't really worth the risk of getting hit by lightning, okay? You've got quite a large puppy pad to use. Try to get the biggest ones we can afford. Even though he's a small dog, I could probably fit 5 of him on that puppy pad. With the size of it. Which is why we have the puppy pads, because the weather's not always... In fact, I think that was thunder.
It was. It's been thunder.
The weather's not always let's go out and potty friendly. I mean, we have the carport, but it's all open. I mean, it's a structure built roof. It's not like one of those pop-up carports. It's actually attached to the house, but it's not enclosed. It's not like a garage or anything. If it was a garage, I would set a puppy pad up out there and take him out to the garage. No big deal. But, let him pee on the car tires that she likes to do from time to time. But, we can't do it right now, buddy. With our luck, we're not gonna press it. If it was just raining, fine, whatever. But it's not just raining. Alright. Get this guy worked into here. Okay. I don't know if I'm gonna do that entire one in the yellow. Probably need to do a little bit more of it in yellow. Just to kind of round them out a bit. So, I mean, our shrubbery is going to be a little bit different down in here, obviously. I mean, if you want to have your shrubs a little bit closer to Bob's shrubs, go for it. That is entirely up to you. I'm just kind of scraping gently our fluff around into a spot that I want to stab it into. Remember, you're going to scrape the surface. You're not going to stab in and then pull. Surface, if you're going to do that. Extremely delicate hands. Okay. Okay. Let's see, I need a little bit more color over on this side. And I don't know why the Code Red website's been down. But now I'm like, shouldn't they have like sent out a notice? Like, is it ever coming back up? Like, did the city not pay their bill? Like what's happening? Kind of surprised we didn't end up in the severe thunderstorm watch. Missouri to our north is in the watch. Part of Oklahoma to our west is in it. It stops at the Arkansas state line. I'm like, okay. Kind of strange. Sure. I guess they think they're gonna fizzle out. Or at least not be quite as severe. They were saying we could have some showers and storms today, but then I was looking at the hourly forecast and it didn't have anything on there, and I'm like, okay, that's helpful. But I'll tell you, I knew it was coming because a little bit before I started stream, husband was like getting super anxious out of nowhere. He thought it was antibiotics kicking in, and I'm like, I don't know about that. So I went to go and check the radar, and that's when I found out that we were under a heat advisory, and then I saw the storms in the corner of Oklahoma, and I was like, I think we're gonna get something. And then the little bit ago when my knees just started freaking the fuck out and hurting something terrible. Sucks because I've got two bad knees, right? The one I like severely strained or sprained when I was trying to jog or run in backless shoes, and my foot kind of half slipped out. And so like while I was running forward, I slammed my foot into my shoe to try to get the shoe back on, and somehow fucked up my knee. And then I think the other knee got fucked up when I fell off my bike. I was trying to transition from sidewalk onto grass, and my front tire got stuck in the little divot of dirt between the concrete and the grass, and it went all like boop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop, and then I fell off. I didn't for some reason think to stop the bike. I just kept trying to go forward. And then next thing I know, I was on the ground. I was like, what the fuck just happened? It happened in slow motion and yet very fast at the same time. I'm sure it was quite a spectacle to see. But since I landed in the grass, I didn't skin myself up too bad, but it fucking hurt. That was years ago. And then there's the countless times I fell headfirst over the puppy gates. We had like the baby gates that were like, god damn. What the fuck? That sounded like a cannon going off.
Sort of sounded like something exploding, yes.
Holy shit. That did not sound like normal thunder. The fuck? I was like, boom, boom, wow. Well, we still have power. So it wasn't our transformer that went. If that's what that was. Wow. Okay. Well, that was interesting. First time I've ever heard something that sounded like that. But yeah, there were a couple times when I was half asleep when I just got up and I had to go to the bathroom. Forgot the puppy gate was up, the little baby gate, which was high enough to stop the boys at the time until Momo figured out he could jump it. And I like hit it knee first and then I like kind of sort of fractionally bounced back off of it and I was like, what? And then I kind of fell forward with the gate falling. I was like, god damn. Ross was like, what did you do? And I'm like, I don't know. He's like, oh, you forgot the gate was up, didn't you? And I'm like, I don't know. Because I think we were only putting the gate up when we went to bed at one point because they were getting into trouble otherwise. That was a creepy noise. It was like the slowest gunshotty noise ever. Or cannon explodey noise. It didn't help that it echoed off the either the mountains surrounding us or the buildings. But it didn't sound loud enough like it was right next to us. Like our lights didn't even blink. That was kind of wild. I'm just adding a little bit of yellow to this guy because he looks like he needs it. Holy cow. I wonder if my mom was outside smoking. Hopefully she was still laying down. I didn't hear anyone frantically trying to get back in the house, so... It used to be a no smoking in the house rule, mostly because we had the oxygen tank for my dad. And secondly, because his mom had stopped smoking years ago and I didn't want her to be too tempted by it to just think about starting again. So we just kind of kept up with the smoking outside stuff. So we got a little bit of yellow. We might switch to the other shade here of mustard. Just clip through there for right now. So it's a little bit lighter. You know what? Is it raining?
It was sprinkling slightly last time I was outside.
Okay. Oh, that's a different shape. You know what? I think that was supposed to go in a different bag. I'll just pull you to the side then. I think that was the other... It's slightly darker. Yeah, I think that was the other color. Alright. So it's gonna look similar to this shade, but it's a little bit more yellowy. It's not quite as dark. So how is everybody else doing today? Everybody doing okay? How's your Monday been? Momo buddy, it's thundering and lightning. We can't go outside right now. I'm sorry. We've got a mostly unused puppy pad out there.
No.
We can't go outside right now.
It's bad out. You can't go out right now.
Especially with whatever the fuck that noise was. Ain't nobody going nowhere. Nope, 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 nope. No way, buddy. Mom and Dad are not gonna press their luck with the lightning. We don't fuck around with that. It's not just a little drizzle. We're not risking you getting electrocuted or one of us getting electrocuted. No thank you. So we get a lot of cloud to ground lightning around here. And it ain't fucking worth it. We are not going to be Darwin Award candidates. Thanks. Not when we know better. Shouldn't be around too long. We'll reevaluate in a little bit. Alright, so we got two more bushy guys here. That kind of needs some fluff to them. So let's work on that. This guy might need a second coat. Depends on how he goes down. We'll see here. You know, in this one, Bob didn't put a big old tree in the foreground. That was a little surprising. This one was actually fairly simple for him. I kind of feel like something like this would have done well in season 1 to get people excited. This seems very beginner friendly as far as Bob stuff goes. Tap, 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 tap. No, you know what? That might be fine with one color pass on that one. That's not too bad. Still have some surface fuzzies though. Haven't been fully anchored. Okay. The back of this is very like 3D. My shrubs are kind of sitting up there, at least at the moment. It's kind of amusing. I probably stabbed too deep into the felt, but that's alright. It's fine. I might have to either go back over the whole thing with just some tappy taps here and there, because I do have some strands hanging up, or I'll take the snips with the white handle. I'll just kind of graze over the top and get any stragglers. Alright, so let's get this guy put into here. We have to pick a color that we want to sign in today. Not sure if I'm going to trim the sides today. I kind of want to start to gesso today. Just to save us a little bit of time. It wasn't very thundery for a thunderstorm. I've been noticing that a lot lately. Well, that wasn't very much rain at all. It's almost out of here. I wonder if we're gonna get more later. I mean, the road sounds wet. We do need it. With as hot as it's been. Alright, get this guy worked into here. So what are you guys up to? What are you working on? What are you doing? What's happening? We just chilling. Working on any projects. Alright, how's that doing? I still feel a little fuzzy. And I mean, I know the whole thing's gonna seem fuzzy because it's fluff, but you can like feel the little loose hairs kind of shift in and see them if they're not all fully attached there. Okay. So we put that bit of fluff away. That's not a color I want to sign in. Too close to everything else. So we could sign it in blue. We could sign in purple. Kind of want to sign in purple. Purple might be a bit more visible. Go with this shade. It's a shade that we've used in this piece. I mean, this or white, but we'll just go with this. Alright, so we're gonna try to make a fiber snake. What's your deal, Windows 11? You've got like acting like there's something I need to know about right fucking now. Holy shit. Apple-sized hail smashes windshields in New Mexico. Apple-sized hail. God damn, that's fucking scary.
I mean, they're lucky it only smashed windows. That's pretty horrifying.
That is. That's not snowballs, that's fucking hard, compacted, solid ice. You don't fuck around with that shit. Tell you what, you fuck around with that, you're gonna find out real quick. And that will not be a pleasant experience. That's like skull fracture territory. You need to get your ass inside. Like, damn. Okay, so let's see. So we'll just kind of pop it down into this bush, I guess. As I piss off my editing self by doing this with my arm in the way. It's supposed to be a D. It doesn't always look like a D, but it's supposed to be. Okay. I don't know if I'm even zoomed in enough to be... Oh, you can kind of make it out. Okay, so there's one. And then we've got the second guy. As I go in the completely opposite direction from how I did the first one. Because why would I do it in the same direction as the other one? That would make sense. I mean, in theory, I could just embroider floss and sew this part. But I hate threading needles. I mean, I'm capable, I just, meh. Don't feel like it. I already have this out, then that's something else we have to drag out. The lazy ass in me is just like, no, let's just do it this way. So, now this is the tricky part. This used to be sort of like a paw print, but I have since morphed the paw print into kind of like a flamingo foot, so it's kind of like triangular. It's not that easy to pull off with this, it just kind of looks like a blob. It's easier to do with paint. Much easier to do with paint. Actually, we're not gonna have time to gesso today, so we'll gesso on Sunday. So it kind of looks a little bit like a Mickey head there. And we're gonna put our third little divvy guy in there. It's really hard to see him. I almost feel like we needed more shrubs, but at the same time, I'm okay with it being a little bit barren. I don't think there would really be that much right in there. Okay. Alright, let me move the pad out of the way. Nope, don't you everything fall now. Okay, so there we are with that. Now, on Sunday, because I don't have enough time today, I would just be whipping out everything and have to close everything back up. On Sunday, we will gesso our dowel rods. We have to figure out what color we want them to be. Actually, we can take a look at that real quick before we... Let me put the cap on this so we don't accidentally stab ourselves or break it. Let me see here. I can sit there for a second. Just give me 1 second. I have to open my drawer down here. Oof! I almost fell out of my chair. Damn. Okay. So we've got this color. Not that color. This color. Is this the color? Yeah, okay. So we've got a couple color options here that are within easy reach. So we have a couple of options. Oh, let's not fall over everywhere, okay guys? Let me hang this guy back up here. Where's our swatch piece? Oh, this was just a testy swatch from the last one. So on this guy, is this that same color? I think so. I mean, actually, we could kind of... Alright. The Cafe Olay is a new player in this. So we're just doing some swatches real quick. So we've got, this is kind of like similar to our light sand color on the shoreline. So that's option 1. Right, get my jar of water here. And we'll rinse this guy. Well, this is acrylic paint. This isn't our gesso. Then we have, actually turquoise is a new player too. Is this light? No, this is light turquoise, excuse me. Probably gonna be an air bubble. Pops up there in a second. As long as it doesn't splatter when it explodes, that's fine. So we've got this, which is kind of similar to our watercolor. I will say the acrylic paint's washing out. Well, it's washing out a little bit easier than the gesso did. And there's still a little bit of green left in there. We have our hyacinth. Not hyacinthia, hyacinth. Okay, so it's our kind of like a mix between both purples. I have another purple, but I couldn't grab it very easily. I think I had a couple darker purples. And I wasn't sure if dark purple was how I wanted to go with that, so that works out. And then, so those three are kind of more of a muted pastel-y. I don't know if brown can really be considered a pastel, but what is this? This is our rich brown. I think this is the one that we ended up going with on the last one that we did. Dog hair stuck in the label. Fabulous. Okay, so no matter what color we end up going with, it'll probably need at least 2 coats. So we have to figure out which of those that we want to do for our dowel rods, which are going to frame out the top and the bottom. Just drying my brush real quick before I put them back into there. So let's see here. We have to kind of fold in the bottom a little bit on itself. Here, let me close this because I know me. There we go. Alright, so if we kind of close, or not close, but roll that, and then kind of roll that guy, just, you know, for reference, just to kind of get an idea. Doesn't want to stay that way though. I just put my hand in the wet paint. Good job. Alright, so this kind of brings out some of the highlights that are in there. It's not bad. It's not bad off the bottom. What do we look like off the Marvin? Stop it. Marvin's getting a little feisty over there. Alright, so what do we look like off the top color? It's not bad. Alright. Now the turquoise is, this is a little more green, and this is a little more blue, I think. Not quite the same shade now that it's drying. So it might look a little funny, right? So I don't know, now I'm not so sure about that color. This is why we do the test swatches. I mean, it's not terrible. It definitely brightens things up a bit, but it's just a little too deep, I think. Doesn't quite look right. Alright, so then let's look at our purple here. That's very bold. Wow. Yeah, I think that's a little too... And then we've got our rich brown, and that just makes everything feel real dark. Like, I'm not getting that pop of... Oh, hello. And there's so much dark in this with all of the rich browns and stuff. So I think we're gonna go with contestant number 1 and go with Cafe au Lait in the Anitas. It's a little bit more dulled down than this. It's a little darker, but it's not too dark. I think that might be a nice neutral for this one, since we've got a couple different bold shades in here. Yeah, I think we're gonna go with this guy when we go to paint our dowels. So our other friends can go back in our paint drawer. And tuck my swatch away for later. Alright, so I think we're gonna wrap it up there for today. Let me just double check my other list here. See if there's anybody that we want to go see. They should probably be wrapping up shortly. So I think we are going to pause there for today. I don't think we're going to read anybody today. So yeah, so thank you guys for hanging out with me on this Monday. Hope your Monday's been going well. Hope it continues to go well. Oh, we got some paint on there. Alright, that's fine. That's gonna get covered. That's okay. That's scrap. We'll clean up the sides, paint, and I'll grab the glue gun out for us to attach the dowel rods next week. But yeah, so we're just about done. We just have to do our final touches, and we'll work on that on Sunday. What is this weird line in here? What is that? Yeah. Is that a real line? Because I don't see it. Is it just a shadow? That's bizarre. There's not actually a line here. It's just the way that, I guess, the fiber's looking. Alright, well, yeah, we're gonna call it here. I need to go make dinner. Next scheduled stream is going to be on Thursday. And we'll be back with Coral Island. I don't know if we'll be doing anything in the meantime. We probably won't be doing any bonus streams this week because I've got a lot of editing to do. And I really need to get after myself and get that shit done. That and season starting soon for Diablo, so we might be playing some of that off stream too. So that's probably gonna be it until Thursday. So I thank you guys for hanging out with me. You guys have a good night. Have a good work day, night, whatever it's gonna be. I greatly appreciate it. And until next time, you guys, have a good one.